Okay, so since the last tutorial, what I've done is, because we're running out of sections, is to condense down the last 3 sections into section M. So on the patch, I've got track 2 as the bass G and B, I've got track 4 as the space melody, and then on track 16 I now have a new phrase. So we're going to go ahead and program this in. So this measure at the moment on phrase 14 is only 1 measure long, and we're going to put the kick drum in first and then copy it and make it 32 bars in length. So if we go to record in grid mode and then hit play. Oops, let's just find that kick drum. There we go. So we want that on 1, 5, 9 and 13. Let's just check that. Okay, and then job on phrase, we're going to go to append phrase, select, and then it's phrase 14, add to phrase 14, do that. Just quickly exit that and see if it's done it. Yep, so if we go to our patch and set this up to 2, you can see it's duplicated it from 1 measure to 2. If we go to append again, do that. That should take it from 2 to 4. We'll do it again, it'll take it from 4 to 8, from 8 to 16, and from 16 to 32. Okay, exit that, and then let's have a look. So if we extend that all the way up to 32, and that's little leg there means it's the same length as 32, it's not greater or less than. So we should have that kick drum extending throughout the phrase. So what we need to do, and it's a bit labor intensive, you can skip this section if you want, is put in the ride cymbal that comes next. So there we go. So that would come in at 8, 9. So let's go to record, play, and then we'll forward this on to measure number 9. Whoops. There we go. So we need this on the offbeats. So 3, 7, 11, 15. 3, 7, 11, 15. 3, 7, 11, 15. It's going to take a while. Always skip the video if you prefer. 3, 7, 11, 15. 3, 7, 11, 15. Oops. Nearly there. There we go. So we should get, after this measure. Okie dokie. So while we're here, we'll lower the velocity of the ride cymbal, and I guess we should have done that before we entered it in. So if we go back to voice, and then if we hit record again and play, we're still on the ride cymbal, and then oops, let's lower this down to 75. Okay, so what we need to do now is add it back in. So if we stop that, I've just done measure 9. Let's go to measure 8. Okay, so that is at 75 on the pad velocity. That means how the velocity at which you press the pad, because these aren't touch sensitive keys. So that's 9 done on the ride cymbal, just to lower it down. So if we do 10, this would just be a case of, let's just make sure I'm still on, yep, E flat 2, 10's done. Again, just skip this part of the video. I'm just taking it off and putting it back on, just because I want that ride cymbal a bit further back in the mix. Oops. I could have just undone it, couldn't I, at the beginning? Never mind. I'm making these mistakes so that hopefully you don't have to. Okay, that's that done. So let's just skip to when it comes in. Oh, so there's a few that I've missed there, but you can always go back at your own leisure and amend that. That was just to get that ride cymbal a little bit more quieter in the mix, because all the drum sounds are on one track. If I turn the track volume down to put the ride cymbal further back in the mix, it's going to put obviously the kick drum, the snare and everything back in the mix again, back down in the mix as well. So we have to do it individually on the on the pad velocity. So let's set the, we don't need to be in record mode, pad velocity back up to 100, and we'll add in the closed hi-hats. So they should come in at 8 goes to 9, 16 goes to bar 17. So if we record, play, and then go up to measure 17. Have I got this right? 1 to 8 and starts at 9. 9 to 16 starts at 17. Yeah, never could do the maths, but never mind. So we need this one here, so F sharp, and then we will add this on. It does sound in the track like it's every step. So let's just have an experiment with that. So let's go to 17. Alright, let's put it on every track. The thing I just want to be conscious of is on most keyboards and drum machines you have what's called choke mode. So you'll notice if you play a open hi-hat followed by a closed hi-hat, the sound of the closed hi-hat will actually cut off the tail of the open hi-hat, or it might even override the open hi-hat. So if you've got an open hi-hat on the same step as a closed hi-hat, you won't hear the open hi-hat. So let's just see what this sounds like. Okay, so if we try and play on that, oops, go back to that. See, it cuts it off. So you guys ask yourself the question, do you want that many closed hi-hats on the step? But it's your own personal preference. So if we go back to measure 17, I'm just going to have the closed hi-hat on every other step. And what we could do, I guess, is, I don't know if it'll work or not, add the open hi-hat on a different track, maybe the track with the reverb. I think that's what we'll do, because I think separate track it won't go into choke mode, but we'll see. So this now needs to go on every step. So again, if you want to skip the video to get past this bit, it's a bit labour intensive, you can. Obviously if you show more of the details of the video, you can see I've put in the different sections. Oops, I've gone wrong. You can skip forwards and backwards in the video to your heart's content to cherry pick the parts of the tutorial you want to learn from. But we're nearly done. Couple more. That's that done. Okay, and then 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So on 24 now, we would have the snare. So the snare would be this one. So if we record into play mode, that, and then we go to measure 24, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay, we've messed it up a little bit, but not to worry. This would then be, so we need that on 5, 13, 5, 13, 5, 13, 5, 13, 5, 13, 5, 13. That's the end. That's the end of that. Okay, so if we stop that and go back to the beginning. Okay, and then the ride cymbal should be coming in on this one. Okay, missed a couple. And then the closed hi-hats. Snare drum comes in too early. Okay, so it doesn't come in on 24, so easy peasy, just go back to 24. Make sure you've got your note on and take that off, and then we should have that. Okay, so you notice there was a couple of ride cymbals where the velocity wasn't quite on the 75 setting, and there was a couple missing, and there was a couple of the closed hi-hats missing, but you can go back at your heart's content and put those in and rectify it. So we've now condensed section M down from and freed up a few more sections. Okay, so at the end of section M, which we've now condensed down, the very last bar has crash cymbal, and the rest of the percussion disappears. It also has possibly a kick on beat number 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way up to measure 32, record, hit play, and we're going to take off the ride cymbal. We're going to take off the snare, we're going to take off the closed hi-hats, and we're going to take off all but one of the kicks, and we're going to also add the crash cymbal. What we'll do is we'll put the velocity back up to 100, so this has got a nice punch on it, and whack it there. So if we stop this, let's just go back and measure. What we have is, okay, so that's a little break before it goes into the next section, and that was fairly simple to do. Okay, so what we'll do is, before we continue, just make sure we're on track 14, track 16, phrase 14, which is that long 32 bar beat phrase, and we're just going to name the phrase. Let's just call this Oops, always do that. Something obvious. 32, let's call it 32 beat. And then enter that. Oh, that's it, that's named. Hold on. Okay, that's that done. So if we go back to our patch, we've got 32 beat. So on the next section, section N, new section N, we are going to, on our patch, have track, I'm getting confused with the tracks now. So track 2 is bass, G and B again. Track 4 is a space melody. And then track 3, was it track 3? Let's have a look. Nope. Is the that's on track 5, which will be, did we call this square melody? It's here somewhere. Oops, bass melody. No, that's weird, is it? Okay, it's phrase. Okay, so phrase 16, I'm just going to quickly rename that. Phrase 16. I think I've had a couple of technical problems since the last time I uploaded one of the parts of this tutorial, but not to worry, it's just simple to get it back. Let's just call it square. That's done. So if we go back to the patch, that's done. So we have the beat now. If I put it on track 16, we might as well give it a new phrase. So this only needs to be 1 measure long. We can always extend it, so let's just take it out of mute. So this would be track 16, and then if we go to record and hit play, we want to put the kick back in, so we want to make sure it's on the right track as well. It is on the right track. What I've done is messed about with the octaves. There we go, so we want that on 1, 5, 9, 13, and then we want the snare on 5 and 13. We want the closed hi-hat on every other step, and we want the pad velocity for the ride cymbal to go down to 75, so it's a bit back in the mix, further back in the mix. 3, 7, 11 and 15. So if we listen to that, is there something missing? I'm not too sure. The square melody is a bit off. Let's have another listen. There is like the bass is more arpeggiated now. That's track 2. There is sort of an arpeggiator going on in the background, but you know, the idea of this tutorial is to give you a feel of how to do these things on your own or with your own tracks or songs. So it would lead from M to N. Let's force it on a bit. think we're there. Okay, so I'm going to leave section N that for now. I'm sure if you listen to the track with headphones on, a decent copy of the original track, there is like either the bass is more arpeggiated and there's more bass notes, or there is like an arpeggiated synth that's playing there in the background. Okay, so with this section's added, obviously we can go on and finish the song. We can add all the filter sweeps and the tracks introducing and fading away on the by recording the volume and the cutoff and stuff, but it would make it a bit laborious for this tutorial. So I feel that you've got all the tools you need now to go and either copy this or make your own tunes, and then just with playing it live, if you wanted to play it live, this is how I would do it. So right, we'll start on section A, and then I'm going to make sure I've got track 1 selected. We just take it out of section. I'm going to be putting that incidental open hi-hat hit in. Obviously you can put it in on your track if you want. You'd have to extend a lot of your phrases to do that, but let's just go with this. So section A, take it out of section. Ride cymbal's a little bit high in the mix, but I've shown you how to put that back in the mix a little bit with the velocity. Bars in length, remember. Probably stopped that at that point, given it a few bars of silence, and then brought this section back in. Just missed the beginning of that. That's one of the occupational hazards of playing it live. And then we know the rest. We're just I'm going to stop it there. So by no means is it perfect, and you probably wouldn't play this, you know, if you had a crowd of people, because you just open for all kinds of disasters. You'd probably either program it in the pattern chain mode, which I shall show you shortly, or you'd you just do it that way, and then you'd play the little incidental sounds, or you'd make it look like you were actually playing it and get a bit of kudos there. but that's not what this tutorial is about. This is about how to use this RM1x. Okay, so as well as playing it live, what we can do is chain all these sections together. So if you go to pattern chain mode, you can see on this column we've got the measures. Every bar is labeled down here, and we can go down and add loads of measures in. And then you've got the time signature, which is 4x4, pretty straightforward. And then here we can add in the style. So we've put our song on user 1. So if you hold down shift and then turn the dial a couple of knobs, again this is a little bit laborious, but it's a necessary evil. We want user 1, and obviously what I've done on this sheet, if you can see this, I've put the sections that we've programmed in, how long the length of the maximum measure is, and then the additive of each measure, so we can see where in the song which bar each section comes in. This is, however, each section consecutive, one after the other. It's not necessarily how long the section lasts within the song. So, typical example, section G might play through twice in the song, but obviously I've just worked it out so each section plays once, just for tutorial purposes. And you can see I'm using state-of-the-art technology to show you that. A piece of paper and a pen, basically. So we want user 1, and then the style, not the style, sorry, the section would be, and make sure you've got it in section A. So now this is what you've got to be careful of. If we look, we made section A 4 bars long. So the next section, section B, would come in at 8 on measure 8, not necessarily after the first entry. So if we go to 8, obviously the style again, whoops, 8, and then the style is, hold down shift to get to it quicker, user 1, and then the section here, make sure you've got a section, is section B. Okay, so if we play this, let's just see what we get. Will it actually change, or do we have to be in song mode? Okay, so it has changed, but it changed in the funny place because that is only 4. So that should have ideally been on 4. On measure 5, this is what we've got to be careful of. So so user 1 is now section B, and then section B is 4 long, so that would then be coming in at section 9. So we just clear that. Obviously I'm making these mistakes so you don't have to. So shift and then user 1 now comes in section C. So section C. So this should, if we play this, follow on consecutively. So we've got 4 bars of this, 4 bars of B. Let's have a look. Section B. And measure 9, section C comes in. Keep an eye on the measure. Should be section 17. No, it's just carrying on, but on section 17 we would then want to put in D. Let's give it a try. So user 1, and then the section is D. Okay, so D lasts for 2 bars, so that would cover 17 and 18, and then at 19 we would go to E, if I've got this, if I've got my sums right. So let's have a look. And then this would be section E. So let's go back to the beginning and play this. So this is 4 followed by 4. Section B. Section C. Are we going to miss it if we put it in the right place? And then that crash. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay. So that's how to put all your sections together in pattern chain mode. So remember, with the phrases, it's really confusing. In each one of these patterns, you've got multiple phrases depending on the phrases that you put in your patch for each section. So section 1 is really simple. It's just got those like bongos, introduction on track 1. Section 2, then we've obviously got the percussion coming in, and as we go through the sections, each pattern has got different phrases, and so when you go to pattern chain mode, you're just sort of linking in these sections in which order you want them playing in order to construct the individual components of the song. So we could go on again and add every single section one after the other. All you need to do really is do the maths or play it and watch what happens with the measures and where you want different sections to come in, and you can go ahead to your heart's content and put in the rest of the sections. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial on how to program a complete track. I haven't covered everything in detail in terms of adding every sound and every measure into the song, but you don't need that. I've covered, or I feel I've covered, everything you need to know to go off on your own and have fun with the RM1x. If you've got any comments or suggestions for future videos, please comment below. You know, you can now have a lot of fun with this example. You know, you can tweak stuff and add things in and change things around to suit your own needs. But I did promise that I would do a complete track. Is it a complete track? Well, it's 90% there. But if you've got this far to part 4 of the tutorial, you know, I really thank you for watching. Hopefully this is beneficial to you. I give this advice away for free. Is it completely 100% accurate? More or less. But I will be posting a lot more videos, so if you want to stay in touch and up to date, please hit subscribe and make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications. And I just wanted to say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.